Hi, I'm Bill Kaemmer, the Executive Director at the Chapel of Four Chaplains. I'm standing in the altar area of our chapel here on the Navy Yard, and today I'm going to tell you the story about each of the chaplains that our foundation is founded on. We're going to talk about Chaplain Fox, Chaplain Good, Chaplain Poling, and then Chaplain Washington. Now we're going to tell you about the four chaplains that joined forces on the Dorchester in January of 1943 on their way to Greenland. This is Chaplain Fox on my far right here. He's the oldest of the chaplains. He was a World War I hero when he went off as a 17-year-old to serve in the Marines. But now he's going off to war in his 40s as a chaplain, serving as a Methodist minister, and he's going to serve alongside these other chaplains. Rabbi Good, who was raised in Washington, D.C., he becomes a rabbi followed in the history of his father, and he's so moved by a presentation he saw at Arlington National Cemetery, he decides he wants to serve in the military. Very intelligent individual. When he serves in New York, Pennsylvania in a synagogue, he travels by night to Baltimore and goes to Johns Hopkins Medical School, and he actually gets his PhD to become a medical doctor. But he only did that so he knew how to treat people both spiritually and physically. In front of me here is Chaplain Poling. His father was a minister and his son followed in his footsteps. He ends up serving as a Dutch Reformed chaplain in the military. His last church was in Schenectady, New York. Dutch Reformed church there. It still stands today. He ends up not only serving in the military as a chaplain, but he learned from his father that's one of the more honorable ways to serve because you're going off to war as a non-combatant. And my last chaplain over here is Chaplain Washington, born and raised in New Jersey, where he went to seminary, and his last parish was actually St. Stephen's in Kearney, New Jersey. He was both talented as an athlete and also as a musician. He had a great musical voice. In fact, all four of these chaplains aboard the Dorchester did a talent show, and he was kind of the star of that show. So in conclusion, the neat story about these four chaplains is the fact you have two Protestant, a rabbi, and a Catholic priest that not only went off to war together, but they got along together. And in the 10 days they served on that ship, the soldiers recognized the fact that they had different faiths, but they were all dedicated to their faith and to serving soldiers. So it's a unique story about selfless service and interfaith cooperation.
Yep. I'm thrilled Bill took the time to tell you about the story of the four chaplains, as well as their own personal history. Each of us has a history that calls us to a future to serve. And I would plead with you, I would ask you to go into deep prayer and to ask God for how you might serve God's people in this world today. Churches, synagogues, and mosques are in need of clergy who care and are passionate about ministry. The military also needs clergy who are passionate about people, who care, who don't just want a job, but want to fulfill a calling and make a difference in the lives of other people. Serving other people is truly a sacred honor, a sacred duty, and one for which I am so thankful to God to have that privilege. And so in light of the story of the four chaplains, I would encourage you to see how God may be calling you to enter ministry and to serve God's people around the world and in the military. Thank you so much, Bill, for hosting this, and thank you for taking the time to see how God may use you in today's world.